And then when you turn over to chapter 16, we get this incredible discourse about the house of Israel. In scriptures, you're going to notice there are three distinct groups of people. You have the Jews in Jerusalem, back in the homeland. You have the scattered Israelites, and they're all over the world. They've been scattered, so they're all over. And then you get the Gentiles. Those are the three major groups of people that come up whenever we talk about the house of Israel and the gathering of Israel. You'll notice Christ came as a son of Mary, who was a Jewess. He is a Jew. His disciples are all, his first disciples in the first century, they're all Jewish. The gospel was brought first to them. Then at his ascension, he tells his apostles to go not just to Jerusalem, but to the scattered Israelites in Samaria and in all the world. And then lastly, the gospel is take the gospel and preach it to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. Abraham was promised that the covenant given to him was to bless all the kindreds of the earth, not just his own family, ultimately. So you'll notice this progression that the Gentiles got at last. And in chapter 16, just pay attention as you go through to how Jesus teaches these Nephites and Lamanites who are part of group 2 here. They're part of scattered Israel, and they know that. They've been told that repeatedly. That's their identity. But watch how he talks about the house of Israel and how the Gentiles are brought into that discussion, and how the Gentiles accept this gospel and will bring it to scattered Israel and eventually to the Jews. So the first shall be last and the last shall be first in the latter days. So pay attention as you go through to the role that the Lord has asked for the Gentiles to play. Notice that in verse 13 it says, "But if the Gentiles will repent and return unto me, saith the Father, behold, they shall be numbered among my people, O house of Israel." This great missionary effort is to not just gather the house of Israel, but to gather the Gentiles into the house of Israel. They're adopted in. And it's powerful, this work that we're involved in. President Nelson has told us there's nothing more important taking place on the earth than this effort to gather all of these groups into the house of Israel, into the covenant, get them on the path, trusting God by following his prophets, getting baptized, and then following those steps that we talked about in the Beatitudes over and over and over again as they continually progress to become more like God.